Is this Verlon?
Yes, it is.
Oh, look at you. Well. Go ahead.
I gotta get straight to it because I was listening to your show yesterday, and I heard you say something about people, or I don't know if it's one or a few, were calling you a racist. I cannot, in good conscience, sit back and let the scarlet R word be weighted around your neck. See, people.
Listen, I don't care what morons think, Verlon. You know this. I'm more interested in the principle of our idea. Now that you've heard my dissertation on why supporting and funding the Marxist mafia is absolutely the incorrect thing to do, and the scare taxes are nothing that the opposition to the Marxist mafia should have bought, I'm more interested in the broader point. You do understand I was right?
Listen, Shaun, please, wait just 1 second. I just want to tell the people, stop it. Two guys can buck on air without the white guy being called a racist. But we got to come up with a new rule, Shaun.
All right.
What we say and do at the cigar shop stays at the cigar shop. Because I'm going to tell you, if they heard the way I speak to a couple of your patriots at the cigar shop, they would say I deserve everything that I got Saturday.
Well, I hate to tip all the cards. See, here's the deal that people don't understand. How long have you and I been friends? Ballpark.
Oh, my God. At least about 7 years. I can go all the way back to when we used to crosstalk over Dan and
now, how many
Dan and
times
Bruce.
we stand up and start shoving each other, arguing, where I get calling you all kinds of names and you call me all kinds of names? How many would you say? How many?
We never shove each other. We just keep calling names.
Right, but I could punch you in the face, and you could punch me in the face, and if a grenade flew in, we'd jump on it, correct?
Damn right.
Okay.
Yes,
so this is something Scourge and scum don't understand. And when I say that, I say it for a specific reason. We might as well lift the curtain a little bit. When we had our kerfuffle, and as we always do, because you're mainly always wrong, when we had that kerfuffle, and it was over, did a couple of, what happened? Did a couple of cockroaches reach out to you? You don't have to say anybody's name. I'm just asking you. Were you solicited? Yeah. Were you solicited to do what they do?
Yes. Well, they asked me that question. Did that sound racist to you? I said, no. We talk like that in person. But, see, people don't know that. See, they don't know that because they're not around each other when we argue. So
I hate far more white people than I do any other race, and you know that. And by the way, I'm half Italian. And what exactly is your racial breakdown? Maybe you should tell the people.
My racial breakdown, my mother's half white, half black. My grandfather, my father's father, is half Navajo Indian, half black. So that's my breakdown. I got three different bloodlines there.
But when you're in my cigar store, you know I only let good people in the cigar store, no dummies, no Democrat voters, or no Roger Stone friends. When you're in my cigar store, what would you say? I hate to do this, but would you say it's all Caucasoids in there?
No. Oh, you got me, you got Jay, you got you half and half. You got you got another Hispanic guy that comes up there. Then Tom, with the Amish, we call him Amish. He's half Polish and half something else.
But here's the other thing you have. Here's the other thing you have. You have conversations that are taking place of lawyers, doctors, investors, and the conversation is never about anybody in tights chasing balls. The conversation is always about principles and fundamentals. And those principles take place, and ultimately I pretty much win every one. But you know, everybody assumes that. But the reality is, any kind of disagreement, when the mafia is around, they're not looking to win the point because they cannot. They're scum of the earth. They're cockroaches, or as they're called in Melrose Park, la cucaracha. And the la cucaracha always come out and they don't want to win the argument. They want to slander the person who's accurate because they see the scheme. And that's kind of what we experienced. Together we went through that, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yes.
But what I want to respond to is you said something about Reagan Saturday, and you said it yesterday on your show. Okay, this is what I want to say. Because you said he shut the government down 8 times.
8.
The debt at that time when he took it over from Jimmy Carter was $738 billion. Today, the debt is $30 trillion. You can't compare 8 shutdowns at those billions.
What do I like to do to you? I mean, aside from prove my point, is to give you the perspective of the money in circulation, the velocity of money, and the total GDP at the time. And had he not done that, we would have gone bankrupt 10 times faster than 2023. Because now the debt to GDP is unpayable. In fact, they know they're never going to pay it off. They're not even trying to pay it off. And that's my broader point. You had a moment in time to prioritize and educate the people. But the fear tactics of the mafia are always the same thing. The world will stop and the old people won't get the checks, none of which is true. The first check is always to the debt, the servicing of the debt. The second isn't because it comes out of a war chest. There is no Social Security war chest. It exists on taxation of paychecks. They always get their money. Second are the old people. The only thing that would have stopped was the agenda of the mafia, the fraud to the Ukrainian Nazis, the fraud to the military-industrial complex, the payoffs to the big pharma and the rest of it. You had a moment in time to stop and educate the people. And if they go to day 13, oh my God, the day 13. But this is all something we've done in the past. But in this era, after COVID, you broke the American spirit of courage. And you know who comes around? The cockroaches. And they all get in. Now, none of them ever earned $1 in their life, like Roger Stone, whore, pimp, scumbag lobbyist, and his friends and his cohorts. And they pretend to be on your team. And most people don't realize when you give the government a blank check, they don't write it to the people. They write it to themselves. And you could always tell how bad something's going to be when people support it are of ill character. And I don't just mean Roger Stone.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank the gentleman for yielding and for his leadership, and that Mr. Boyd, the chair of our Budget Committee, as well. Mr. Speaker, I associate myself with the great remarks of our distinguished leader, Mr. Hakeem Jeffries, who spoke.
So this drunken dimwit, Hakeem Jeffries, and then you're going to do what? You're going to give people an excuse for more and more taxes.
Revenue needs to be part of that discussion. It's not all a matter of spending. I think we, in the interest of tax fairness and having the resources to invest in our economy, we also need to be considering proposals that would enhance revenue.
That's taxes. The ink isn't even dry on the debt ceiling. They're not going to review one fracking dollar. They're going to use that debt as a weapon against earners like you and the rest of the people, because we don't know Roger Stone, scumbag. And we're not going to get the special carve-out. That's my broader point, and you know it is. And furthermore, you know I'm right.
Listen, my only retort to you right quick is, where I disagree with you is, I think we need to have an adult conversation about entitlement reform. If we reform the Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, and people are going to have to understand they're going to have to accept less or raise the age before we get it, and start paying down our debt with the entitlement reform.
That's where I think have conversation about reform after you fund the drug addict. It's hard to have a conversation when they're high. And that's what happens when you fund this government. They're high. They don't give a rip about reform. And now what this idiot McCarthy did, and the idiots that support him, they gave him until after the so-called election. After you know they stole the last one. You didn't even use it for leverage. For voter integrity laws. Nothing. You used it for nothing. And the evidence is just the fact. The ink is not even dry. They're bragging. Samantha Powers is bragging about $15 billion to Ukrainians that we already know they steal the money. What could $15 billion do in these neighborhoods of people, Americans, who are homeless? What could it do? I mean, not that I'm for that, but let's just have that argument. There was no thought given to it because people reacted out of fear. And anytime that happens, the charlatans and the foxes and the pirates win. And that's what happened. That's the point. And you know it. And then the other thing that happens is the roaches come out from under the rocks and they pretend to be involved in fighting for the right. The same roaches that contacted you. And they wanted you to call me what? What again? What did they want me to call you? Or you to call me?
I don't like saying that word, but racist. Racist.
Now let me ask you a question. From the second I met you, till the 5,000 arguments we have, did that ever even cross your mind in that giant head of yours?
No, because we talk about issues, and that's why I love coming to the shop all the time.
Yeah.
We talk about issues. It's never about race at all. Nobody thinks about that.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. You're welcome here anytime. Now say goodbye to me like we were just leaving Pete Buttigieg's house.
I'm gonna say see you soon on the 22nd when you get back.
All right, you got it. I'll be back before then. You come over. You're still paying full price
All right.
for a cigar, jerk. All right. I'll be back with your calls and comments after this.
I was just listening to the Shaun